You're good. All right. We go big on this, and you can start the intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Horror Headlines for the week of June 6th, 2024. I got loudness going on in my room. 2024. I am John Marr from Why We Love Horror. That is Hunter Shambles from the Nerd Entertainment Network. And welcome to Primetime. And we are here for the week of June 6th, giving you all of your headlines for this week. See, we got a lot of people on the live already. That's great. Feel free to chat. Feel free to send us messages. You can see up top, that's the YouTube. You can send messages there. You can come on TikTok at WWL Horror. And we have a live chat there when we talk to you. Hunter, how you doing this week?
What's up, guys? We have Aaron in the comments. Go horror. And then you said, go headlines. Thank you for joining us, Aaron. I'm doing fantastic. Another week of horror headlines, John. I'm super excited to get into these news topics.
Awesome. Pistol's here. Pistol's like in the live. Let's just get right into it. Hunter, what's our first topic this week?
Okay, our first topic is actually a new one from bloodydisgusting.com. Let's go ahead and bring that up. Pop. Can you guys see that?
I don't see anything yet on the screen, but if you want to just read the article, I'll be happy to just keep talking about it. Oh, there it is. I see it now.
There it goes. All right, so yes, Jake Gyllenhaal joins The Bride, starring Christian Bale as Frankenstein's monster. Director Maggie Gyllenhaal is bringing the iconic Bride of Frankenstein back to life for an upcoming feature film called The Bride, and her brother is coming along for the ride. A new profile piece on Jake Gyllenhaal that was published by The Hollywood Reporter this morning confirms that Jake will have a role in Maggie's upcoming horror movie. No word yet on the role he'll play. However, stay tuned. The Bride will be released in theaters on October 3rd, 2025. So, John, thoughts on Jake Gyllenhaal joining his sister for The Bride?
You know, The Bride, I think, as far as like 80s movies go, it's an underrated, under-talked about movie. I'm very excited that a movie, you know, when we have all these movies that don't need to be remade, right? But The Bride, I feel, is a movie that should be remade. And Pizzle's in the chat saying he already saw a clip of the film and they're being chased by a mob. Yeah, it's like a retelling of the Bride of Frankenstein story, more or less. And we haven't had like a full-fledged Bride of Frankenstein story outside of like it being like a subplot in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So I think we're ready for like a full retelling of Bride of Frankenstein. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah. So I don't really care about reboots and stuff. Like if they're done well, I'll enjoy it. The cast for this movie looks insane. I love how Christian Bale looks as Frankenstein from those photos that he had, the black and white stills. I think they look awesome. And adding someone at the high level quality that Jake Gyllenhaal is, especially when it comes to his work in thrillers and horror, this is nothing but a positive for me.
Yeah, and Pizzle's mentioning Bride of Reanimator. Bride of Reanimator is definitely like a it's like a half. It's definitely a Frankenstein-y kind of story with the Lovecrafty and stuff in it. So yeah, I would accept Bride of Reanimator, definitely with the phrasing of Bride of Reanimator being another Bride of Frankenstein story. I do think that we like I said before, we have not had a full-fledged Bride of Frankenstein remake. So I'd be happy to see that, definitely. Jay Burns is here. Jay Burns is here watching. What's going on, Jay?
What's up, Jay? Aaron said, I'm concerned about The Bride from the Steels, not going to lie.
Well,
are you talking about
as you know,
the one
we're going to watch
Bale?
it for our channel. I guarantee you're going to watch it for your channel. I don't know. Why do we love horror, Jay Burns? I mean, I love horror because I've always loved horror. It's all I know. It's all I know. Yeah. So, I mean, is this the kind of movie you think you'll cover with Chad and Kerry? You guys going to cover Bride of Frankenstein over on Welcome to Primetime?
That is definitely one that we're going to look at. I actually have thought about doing maybe Frankenstein, the original Bride of Frankenstein, and then The Bride leading up to, talking about all three of them in like a section of the podcast. So that might be one that we can look into doing. That would be kind of kind of fun, kind of like a monster movie month or something like that.
All right, that sounds cool. But yeah,
All right,
so
but
let us know in the chat. What do you think about the Bride being remade, which obviously had a very iconic cast in the '80s with Jennifer Beals, I believe. Was that the one? Sting was in that one. Not Steve Borden. Sting. The music artist. Do we know? Yeah, Jay's asking like, if can't we in the cast Margot Robbie as the Bride of Frankenstein? Do they have any talks of who is playing the bride? Obviously, we know Christian Bale is in it, right? Do we know anything on the casting?
Let me look that up quick. Let me look that up real quick, just in case we do have it. I would think it's weird to show stills and not have your bride already casted.
Cast done. I'm sure if we go on IMDb, we can see who's in the cast.
Yeah, let me look that up real quick.
Jesse Buckley. You know what? If Jesse Buckley is the Bride of Frankenstein, she's been doing great work. She's the lead character in Men, as you know. She just
I love her performance in Men.
Wicked Little Letters. Season 4 of Fargo, she was fire. Jesse Buckley, in my eyes, can't really do any wrong. So And Jason, let Bale go full fucking bad guy as Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah, hell yeah, let's do that. Yeah, Christian Bale, we know.
Yes.
If you heard him going off backstage in the Terminator, we know he definitely has anger in him, and that's definitely. And Pizzle's talking about the Frankenstein and Waxwork too. I remember that. I also remember Frankenstein from the Monster Squad. We have goofy Frankensteins and we have good Frankensteins. I think this is probably one of the better Frankensteins, just because we're like in a definite area where, if you have Christian Bale, Jesse Buckley, that's a great cornerstone of the cast, I would say.
Oh, without a doubt. So yeah, it's Jesse Buckley, Christian Bale, Peter Skarsgård, Penelope Cruz, like just a ton of fucking like really
Peter
great actors.
Great in everything, definitely. Yeah, Penelope Cruz obviously also great in everything. So that sounds like, I don't know how they go wrong. Do we know who's
exactly?
Oh, you said Maggie Gyllenhaal's directing?
Maggie Gyllenhaal is directing. Yeah. She's working with her brother.
Yeah, she cut her teeth on her first movie already with The Eternal Child, whatever. So, yeah, I think I don't see any pitfalls yet.
I don't either. And, again, that the movie really sold me with the first look at Christian Bale's Frankenstein. I like how he looks, how it's kind of different body parts and different pieces that are mashed together. I think it looks really, really cool.
All right, I think we said enough on that. What's the next topic we got?
All right, so we got 2 trailers to talk about. So we're going to start with this one. Alien Romulus had the first official trailer hit about 3 days ago. So here it is from BladeDiscussing.com. New trailer for Evil Dead director's Alien sequel. Let's go ahead and go down. Fede Alvarez's Alien Romulus is heading to the big screen this summer, and the brand new official trailer has been unleashed this afternoon. Alien Romulus arrives in theaters on August 16th, 2024. It says Alvarez's movie is set between the events of Alien and Aliens, and it looks to be a true fusion of the two. The claustrophobic haunted house in space terror of Ridley Scott's original classic, and the pumped-up action horror that James Cameron brought to the table with Aliens. Here's the full plot synopsis. While scouring the deep ends of a deflect space station, a group of young space colonists come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe. So, John, thoughts on the first official trailer for Alien Romulus?
I think this is the second trailer we're getting, because and I saw what Pistol said in the chat. He'll watch anything Fede does. Yeah, Fede, I think right now can't really miss. He definitely has a very distinct style, and I think he's very good at, if we look at Don't Breathe and Evil Dead, he's very good at shooting semi-claustrophobic, kind of very dimly lit areas. So if you're gonna have it be like Alien, where there's a singular alien in a confined spaceship space, I think with modern directors you can't really go wrong with Fede Alvarez. Then you have combined the action of Aliens. He's definitely done some action. If we remember the finale of Evil Dead and all the action we see in Don't Breathe, I think that description sounds like a Fede Alvarez movie to me. What do you think?
So yes, this is. I guess this isn't the first official trailer because we did get a small teaser, I think, a few months ago, but that really didn't show us a lot. This one really shows us. It's like a full 2-minute trailer. But yeah, you can't go wrong with Fede Alvarez. I love the Evil Dead remake, the 2013 one. I think that's a really good, kind of serious take on the role. I love Don't Breathe. I think that movie is a really, really great claustrophobic horror movie. Don't need to talk about the sequel. That one didn't happen. But
He wasn't really attached to that. It's fine.
it's
We're talking
fine.
about Alvarez, not Don't Breathe.
Yeah. But you couldn't have picked up a better director than Fede Alvarez, and this trailer shows him. A lot of scenes of dark, dimly lit corridors, one small locations, feels like a Don't Breathe type where, like, you're surrounded by the walls in the house. I love the tagline of "In space, no one can hear you." Kind of a take on "No one can hear you scream," and they just kind of cut the sound in the trailer. I think that was perfectly done. This movie looks amazing. I can't wait for it to come out.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be there opening day for sure.
Mhm.
And I'm glad. I mean, obviously, Fede did get a shot at a known franchise in Evil Dead, but I still think in like the pantheon of like horror franchises, I don't think Evil Dead gets the respect that like an Alien does. Only because Alien has Ridley Scott and James Cameron like attached to it, so obviously a more higher caliber director, taking nothing away from Sam Raimi. But I think if you ask 100 movie buffs, they're not going to put Sam Raimi above those dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, Pizzle saying he wished Fede did Evil Dead Rise. It would be cool. I liked the choice of Lee Cronin actually doing Evil Dead Rise. I liked the hole in the ground. I think it's good that directors get a shot. I don't think Lee Cronin did a bad job with Evil Dead Rise.
No.
And I'm happy that the next Evil Dead movie, the director of Vermines, Sebastian Vanecek, is going to get a crack at Evil Dead 2. So I think if this is Sam Raimi producing these movies, just giving European directors like real cracks at like a franchise, I think you're going to see Evil Dead slingshot up and start being talked about like the same way we talk about Alien. But Fede Alvarez, maybe he's left Evil Dead behind for now, and he's moving on to like a major blockbuster franchise. So good for Fede Alvarez, he deserves it.
And
that's my take on it.
I really like the fact that this is taking place between the events of Alien and Aliens. We've seen horror do this a lot recently, especially with something like Saw X, which takes place between Saw 1 and Saw 2. We saw how great that one was because we get more kind of fleshed out backstories that then tie into the franchises.
Xenomorphs are clearly like a parasitic race, right? Like there's gonna be multiple vectors. Like what storyline we follow from Alien and Aliens with them being on Hadley's Hope or whatever. Obviously, these aliens, if you go through the whole thing of Prometheus, they've already it's already out of control. Like we've only really scratched the surface of what's up with aliens. Because clearly, if any embryos get anywhere, you get an alien situation.
Yeah. So
we're never going to get many aliens situations because that is what happens when they overrun a planet. The tension comes when it happens when they don't, like when it's the struggle. So I'm glad we're getting these stories.
Yeah, and it's really cool to take this franchise that has it has 7 or 8 movies in its franchise, and you're like going back to the beginning and tying in some stuff from the best 2 of your franchise.
Yeah, if you count the Alien versus Predator movies, you have 8 because you got Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Resurrection, Prometheus, Covenant, and then the 2 Alien vs. Predator movies. Right. I think we've talked Alien Romulus to death.
All right, so I think the trailer is great. The other trailer we have to talk about is the new trailer for Maxine. So let's go ahead and bring that up again from bloodydisgusting.com. There we go. The new trailer for Maxine is Mia Goth versus the Night Stalker in this new trailer. The third and final installment in Ty West's trilogy, A24, will be releasing X and Pearl follow-up Maxine in theaters on July 5th, and a brand new trailer has arrived. So in the trailer, which clearly begins with a Fox trailer for a movie within a movie, The Puritan 2, from there's a lot of the same footage we've already seen. with Mia Goth's character being pursued in 1980s Hollywood by the Night Stalker. There's a giallo vibe throughout the trailer, with West slicing his knife into Hollywood this time around. As Ty West explained a while back, the way that X is a movie that is formed by and affected by independent exploitation, amateur Americana, and 1970s cinema, and Pearl is perhaps affected by the golden age of Hollywood and the glitz and glamour of cinema, Maxine will be more about within the industry itself and the boom of VHS. So, thoughts on this new trailer for Maxine, where it's Mia Goth versus the Night Stalker?
You know, they use a very interesting word in describing that movie, and I like that they're not shying away from saying that
Giallo?
Maxine will be a giallo movie, because, like, honestly, I'm not saying that giallo is a lost art. I think there's a lot of movies that are giallo movies in recent history, but nobody ever says this is a giallo movie. For Ty West or whoever the producers are of this movie to come out and say, yes, Maxine is a giallo movie, and it's going to be set in the 80s against a known serial killer in the Night Stalker, which we saw in the American Horror Story franchise. Actually.
Yep.
That's a lot. That's a lot of good things. Pizzle's saying it's going to be a possible solid trilogy. Could it be? I think it's definitely going to be. If Ty West ignites a giallo revival with Maxine, like, we are in for a fucking treat, because there's so many directors who I would love to see do giallo outside of, like, Italian directors. Like, I just watched Blood and Black Lace for the first time a few days ago, and that's a 60s giallo movie back when it was very basic. Then you have like people like again, Mario Bava and his son, and Lucio Fulci and Deodato Ruggiero and Dario Argento, like, taking that ball and running with it and doing, like, crazy shit for, like, 20, 30 years, up until, like, 2022, Argento put out Dark Classes.
They
still can do it. It's an underappreciated medium. I think a lot of American horror fans don't know giallo. I think if Ty West is willing to give us a master class in giallo, I think it's going to open up a lot of people to watching movies like Pizzles, like Deep Red and Tenebrae and Opera and House by the Cemetery. All these movies that they should be watching. So great, do it. Let's go. What do you think, Connor?
Dude, I am so excited. I am someone who absolutely loved X. I love Pearl. If Ty West can hit it out of the park with Maxine, this might be one of the best horror trilogies that I've ever seen, because all three movies have hit.
And they're all hits in different styles, right?
Yes.
Like, X is your homage to, like,
1970s gritty.
And then you have wherein Pearl was more like a character study and like a golden age character study horror movie. And then we're gonna have Maxine be self-professed giallo film. Like, I'm here for it. Again, I'll be at Maxine opening day regardless. I love Ty West. Even his worst movies are great. Period.
Yeah, I got into Ty West movies with X. Then I went and watched a lot of his other movies. There's not a single movie of his I dislike. All of them are hits, in my opinion. But what's cool about this trailer is that I love the kind of meta reference where it's like A24 presents the Puritan 2. So funny. You have the reference to Psycho with the Bates Motel on the lot, where it's, I'm pretty sure you see somebody in the window. I'm pretty sure in the trailer, so I wonder what that is.
It's Pearl. You see Pearl in the window.
Oh, do you really?
So, like, she's, like, hallucinating or whatever. I have not seen the House of Laughing Windows yet, but I definitely I do my own challenges with, like, horror movies, and, like, I have not gone and done, like, a full giallo clean out, but that's coming up for me probably, like, on my channel. I will do a full giallo clean out eventually, but there's many movies to watch, and probably next year. That's a 2025 project for me.
There you go. So yeah, to hear that Ty West is taking this and making it an 80s giallo centered around Hollywood, I think that's a perfect, and the boom of the tape market and VHS, something that he also referenced in X, which is great that now is tying in. This movie looks amazing. It has that feel I love. The casting is fucking stacked.
Everyone's in this movie.
Everyone is in this movie. Giancarlo Esposito, Kevin Bacon, Mia Goth, of course, Halsey. You just got so many. Bobby
Becky.
Yeah, so many great actors who are going to work well off of each other. I am so excited for this movie to come out, man.
All right. Well, any other comments you got in the chat, or we're move on to the next topic?
Yeah, I don't have any more comments right now. Let's go ahead and move on to the next.
What's going on next?
Topic. All right, this one is a very interesting horror movie. It's called The Run. So this is from Bloody Disgusting. Again, The Run will be a choose-your-own-adventure interactive horror movie. Like the experimental Black Mirror Bandersnatch before it.
Go ahead, Harry.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Upcoming horror movie, The Run, will be taking an interactive approach, allowing you to decide the outcome of events. Deadline reports today that Roxanne McKee, Game of Thrones, and George Balden, Vikings, will star in The Run, which will be directed by Paul Rashid. The site details the interactive elements will involve the viewer being asked to make high-stakes decisions for the protagonist at various points throughout the story that will affect the direction of the narrative and in some cases result in early death. Here's a plot summary for The Run. The story is set on a remote running trail where a famous fitness influencer's morning run becomes a race for survival when she's hunted by seemingly motiveless killers. She meets a local farmer, Matto, along the way, and the viewer's choices determine whether they live or die. So thoughts on The Run as a choose-your-own-adventure interactive movie?
Well, I mean, they didn't speak about the delivery mechanism. I imagine this is like a Netflix. This has got to be like
it would have to be.
Yeah, Pizzle's mentioning. I think they mentioned Bandersnatch in there, and I have gone through Bandersnatch. Bandersnatch is fantastic. I would like more horror movies like that, and we've always heard rumblings of like that technology coming to theaters, but I don't know if theaters can. I don't know if theaters can sustain that. I don't know if that would necessarily be a gimmick to bring people into theaters, or if theaters are going to invest in that kind of technology.
That would be hard to do, especially if you have a lot like a packed house. How would you?
Well, if it comes like it would be like a majority rule.
Oh, okay.
So, based on that, like, but this seems like it's set for like a streaming service, individual or small group setting movie. I'm all for it. I would watch that, and I would watch it until I've seen all of the footage. Most likely, I would make bad decisions for the purpose of seeing it. Like, so, yeah. I mean, I think it's a good gimmick. It's been used a few times in my memory, but it's never had a boom. I don't know. I mean, I know Roxanne Key. I don't know any of the names attached to that. So if this is going to be like a low budget kind of movie, I don't think it's going to get any traction. I think you need to attach somebody to that to get buzz. But I'm interested in the concept, and now that I know it's coming, I will be on the lookout for it. What do you think, Larry?
Exactly. I like when horror movies do these kind of weird, or movies in general, where they do these kind of outlandish things. Like there's a Francis Ford Coppola movie that came out, Metropolis, I think is the name of it, where he had like a narrator at theaters, actual like theaters actors, doing like an interview with the movie. I like kind of interactive things like that. So a choose your own adventure kind of movie in the horror space works so well because you have so many different decisions you can make, so many different potential outcomes you have. I think it's kind of a fun way to do it. This would have to be a home release. I was thinking Netflix or maybe maybe Shudder would pick it up and do something Shudder like that. Good. Yeah, so something to kind of like intrigue people to go over to Shudder, which Shudder's great anyway, but that might be a good one for them. Again, I don't know a lot of the actors and I don't know the director, but I will definitely be willing to check it out and how fun it is to kind of pick my own adventures.
Yeah. All right. So I think we got one more topic for the night. What is the last topic? While Hunter's looking it up, I am John Marr from Marvel of Horror. That is Hunter Chambliss from Welcome to Prime Time and the Nerd Entertainment Network. These are our headlines for June 6th. We've gone through 4 out of the 5. What's the 5th one?
All right. This is some good news about In a Violent Nature. The unrated slasher In a Violent Nature debuts with $2 million in theaters. Like Terrifier 2 before it, the acclaimed slasher movie In a Violent Nature was released into theaters in its unrated form over the weekend, and the box office numbers are in. The unique art house slasher movie, courtesy of IFC Films and Shudder, and it scares up an impressive 2.1 million from 1,426 theaters in the U.S. over the weekend. That's one hell of a strong opening weekend for experimental unrated slasher movie, nearly matching the 2.8 million of IFC's Late Night with the Devil earlier this year. The film gave IFC its all-time highest opening weekend, went on to make 11.9 million worldwide. Will In a Violent Nature seemingly leg its way up to 10 million? Stay tuned to find out. So, thoughts on In a Violent Nature debuting with 2 million over the weekend?
We actually mentioned that on Why We Love Horror Tonight, that it had for an independent movie by an independent director. This is the first feature-length film for Chris Nash.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like a festival movie that came out for it cracked 2 million in its first weekend, is overachieving for this movie. Regardless, there's haters in the movie. That's cool. Hate all you want. I'm a huge fan of In a Violent Nature. I'm happy it's made these numbers. It probably will surpass Late Night with the Devil's numbers because In a Violent Nature doesn't have like the vicious haters that Late Night with the Devil had over the AI controversy. So I think In a Violent Nature will surpass it. I think we're going to get more In a Violent Nature movies. They set up the mythology within In a Violent Nature to tell you the stories, what the prequels would be, so they can either go tell those stories of the prequels, or we know that Johnny did not perish, so you could actually have a sequel. It's one of those things like they've seen the landscape of horror. I think Chris Nash, the people behind this movie, have seen the landscape of horror, and they did everything right. If this is to become a franchise, you could go in any direction with this movie. I'm excited for In a Violent Nature.
Yeah, I'm hopefully seeing this movie either this weekend or next week sometime. I'm super excited for it. The premise intrigues the fuck out of me, following the killer the entire way through, where you're not cutting to these other teens or other main characters, like it's focusing on the killer. I like that aspect of it.
So you haven't seen it yet?
No, I've not seen it yet.
I'll just here's my advice to you. I trust you. I trust you explicitly. You do focus on the killer, and you will go into these circles of the story being told, but the story is not directly told; it is indirectly told. So it's a movie that requires you to pay attention to what's going on around Johnny to get the story. Ooh. If you're focusing on this dude's just walking around, you're missing. You're missing.
No, definitely. I keep hearing that, and like I keep hearing people bring that up as a negative, and I'm like, did you actually watch the movie? Because we know what this movie is, and then hopefully when I watch it, I will see all the other stuff going on, which tells the overarching story.
There's times where he's approaching a set piece. He's approaching a set piece, and the entire scene that it would be if it was a multi-camera setup is happening like 100 yards away, and you could hear what everybody's saying, but you're seeing it from where he is. So he sees and hears everything. It's freaking genius. And I think even people that hate this movie 10 years from now will go back and be like, you know what? I was wrong about In a Violent Nature. I'm expecting a ton of apologies in 2030. 2034 will be the year of apologies for In a Violent Nature.
I can't wait for it. But yeah, the debut with 2 million. What was the budget for this film? Do you know?
It wasn't high.
No, it couldn't have been high.
I mean, great. By the way, and whatever the budget was, they did a great job with the practical effects. The practical effect, there are things that are done in this movie that I could not figure out, like with the practical effects. And that's saying something. There's a whole scene near the end of the movie where a kill happens, and I do not know how they did it. So that's high praise.
All right, so I'm looking up the budget right now, but I don't see anything saying what the actual budget was. So if we get that, we will.
Most likely less than $1 million. Like
100%. Yeah. But IFC Films and Shudder, I like what they're doing. They're putting their movies out 1-2 weeks maybe in the theaters, giving it, time to recoup their money, and then they're putting it on the Shudder streaming service. I appreciate that. It gives us time to go out and see the movie in theaters. The budgets are never that high, so they don't need a full theatrical run. And then they can hype up the fact that, Shudder is the only place you can watch this movie that was in theaters.
Candy Joe, thank you for the heartbeat. We appreciate that. We are talking about In a Violent Nature at the moment, and like what we see for this movie, with it hitting $2 million, I think it's already on the scope of the movie. It's hit the mark. We're gonna get another one. Will we get a? Will it be like a larger thing? I don't think Chris Nash is necessarily abandon this project. I think this is Chris Nash's project through and through. Will we get backers? Will this be something that remains within the umbrella of Shudder and IFC? I think so. Will it launch that to another level? I'd love to see Shudder get launched to another level because they're putting out so much good stuff. So
they really are. I love Infested. That was a Shudder original that got released a few months ago. I think that was a really good original. But like, I love that we're getting so many independent horror studios. Like Neon, I think is doing one of the best works in horror right now. A24 is of course doing great horror work. IFC and Shudder are doing great work. You've got all of these.
A24 is at a point now that like they're a serious studio and like they're putting through a serious project after Beau Was Afraid of. And Candy Joe is saying that Infested is on her list. It should be on your list.
So good.
Unless you don't like spiders, you may not make
even then. Even then, it does a great job of making you hate spiders.
Yeah, it's not since like Arachnophobia have we had like a movie that is like very, very centric on like why we fear spiders. Because like,
exactly.
Sting was okay. Infested makes Sting look like Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealer. Like Infested is the movie you need to see. If you're into a spider-based horror movie, that is the movie you need to see. Infested. 1,000%.
Yes. The acting in Infested is amazing.
If you take a movie and you make it French, it automatically makes it better. I said it.
That's maybe not, but I just think that like it's cool that we're getting so many smaller independent studios that are pushing out so unique and experimental horror movies. Like I still need to watch. I saw the TV Glow. I keep hearing raving great things about that movie.
TV Glow is phenomenal. I think I might have underrated that movie, to be honest with you, because it's very rare for me to say a movie is important. I saw the TV Glow is important. Like it's like it's important. I think a lot of people don't realize it's an important movie. If you have not seen I Saw the TV Glow, find a way to watch I Saw the TV Glow. It is really good. It's a little slower and the characters talk slower, but it's very deliberate. So it
that's an A24, correct?
It's an A24 movie. Schoenbrunn, I did not like We're All Going to the World's Fair. I'll say it out loud and I apologize. I still like it. But I always said that if that movie had, we're talking about I Saw the TV Glow. I always said that if they had a larger budget, they could do something great. And they did with I Saw the TV Glow. It's basically like the feels and the vibes of We're All Going to the World's Fair on a much larger scope with great effects and just great performances.
Would I appreciate it more if I watched We All Go to the World's Fair and then watched I Saw the TV Glow?
I think you're going to appreciate We're All Going to the World's Fair more if you watch I Saw the TV Glow first.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
Yeah. Definitely like it's going to be I'll probably watch it again before the year's out. It might crack my top 10. It's a good candidate. I mean, there's a lot of movies I love this year. Like obviously I loved Late Night with the Devil and I loved stop motion. Those are hard to beat. I don't think I Saw the TV Glow is that good, but it's top 10 worthy for sure.
Man, this year is going to be, because we do kind of a plug for Welcome to Primetime, but we do the Primetime Horror Awards at the end of the year. We're going to have so many different movies and at best actor nominees that we have to go through this year because the acting in horror movies has constantly leveled itself up.
Yeah, Candy Joe, I don't know where you are, but it's still in theaters by me. So you will find some theater if you're near a larger city, it's definitely still in theaters by you. Oh, if you're near a major place in Texas, I guarantee if a multi-screen theater in a major city, I Saw the TV Glow is definitely still playing in Texas.
Yeah, so I don't think it's playing near me, but I definitely need to find a place to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, Hunter, I know you're in Arkansas, and I'm not down in Arkansas. I imagine the theaters there are a little more wanting. Hopefully, we get you out of there. We'll get you to the big city before you know it.
The big cities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I don't see any more comments on my end of the chat, but I will definitely be able to stay in and answer questions and
Yeah,
stuff.
the TikTok chat is kind of rocking right now. Pizzle's still in here. I got Hard Talk 84 in here. Candy Joe's here. Like I said, we were just talking about. I saw the TV Globe. Any other movies you want us to talk about? Throw out some topics. We're happy to riff on it for you. As far as now, the horror headlines are done for now. But yeah, we're happy to talk about anything. You want to talk about your favorite of the year, your least favorite of the year, whatever. We're happy to talk about any topics you want.
Yep. All right, guys. So I'm pretty sure this is the end of our episode of Horror Headlines. But if you're over on TikTok, we will be staying a little bit longer to answer questions, read comments. So should I go ahead and play the outro for this one?
You can play the outro. So we're going to close off the other site. We're going to stay on TikTok.
All right.